And well, thank you guys for being here. We are Safe Pet Partners. My name is Becky Boss, and alongside with Eva Perigo and Cody Fernandez, we founded this organization. We got started in about January of this year, and our focus is on the prevention side of animal welfare. So our goals are to really just provide support to pet guardians to help to keep animals safe, happy, and healthy in homes. And this monthly event that we host here every third Saturday of the month is one way in which that we try to support all of you guys, and giving you some free behavior support for your pets. Your questions here too? Okay. All right. So I'm going to get started with some of your questions, Isabel. So we've got two topics here: wild behavior when meeting other dogs, and boredom with mental stimulation games. So let me just make sure we have any double up here. So we also have my dog always barks at other dogs when we're on leashed walks together. So there's a little bit of common ground there. Would you be willing to describe a little bit what you mean by the wild, and whether we're talking about when we're on a leashed walk, when we're at the dog park? Kind of describe that.
On a leash walk, we don't, dog parks, it's not an issue.
Okay.
And because there is no dog park.
But he does go to dog parks, so we're not having this issue with your dog being off leash and other dogs being off leash.
No.
Okay.
No, Wally will hesitate. He'll look at the dog. I can do the leave it command when he ignores me. I've worked on leave it. And he knows that for the direction. And then if the dog starts walking towards him, he'll lunge at the dog and pull me really hard. To the point where I'll just have to drop the leash. And then the dog catchers yelled at me over at Sunset Park. I had my picture taken by a guy who was yelling at me, and I'm like, I can't get knocked over and fall over. I break shit.
Yeah.
But I fall over. So that is what I mean by wild behavior. He's not going to be aggressive towards him. He wants to play.
Yeah. And so is this happening if he sees another dog that's on leash and another dog that's off leash? Say it is at Sunset Park, or is it
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't really observed, and I'll pay attention next time.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
because he uses a long line.
Yeah.
Short leash. So I don't know.
So I would say there's two different topics that we can talk about based off of this. One, let's just kind of address one side of things, which is the on-leash, off-leash situation. And this other question, barking at other dogs when we're on leashed walks, are these other dogs also on leash? Okay. So just talking a little bit about dogs greeting and meeting other dogs when there's leashes involved. A really good rule of thumb is that we never want to mix leash dogs with unleashed dogs. A lot of times we aren't sure how our dog is going to react, if they are rushed up by an off-leash dog. Thankfully, in your situation, we do know how your dog is going to react, just because he's met hundreds of dogs in his life and generally loves them. So if you're getting rushed by an off-leash dog and you can see that the dog is clearly off-leash, the best thing that you can do for yourself and for all the dogs involved is to go ahead and just release your dog. I think if he has a release cue, like, you can use that and drop the leash. And
He does not have release cue. You don't use free? Well, free, but that's when I mean, like today when we were playing and I was reinforcing sitting down. Free.
Yep, that's the same thing. So you could do that in this.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
and so that's just like an overall rule of thumb that, you know, leashes, fences, cars, being inside the car, these create what we call barrier frustration, or can. And especially when there's a chance of the dogs actually interacting, if one's getting held back, it's just really easy for frustration to fester, which can actually turn to, you know, acts of aggression or things that look like acts of aggression. So yeah, that would be the one side of things. Is if you're in a situation where an off-leash dog, you can see clearly the dog is off-leash, is approaching, go ahead and release your dog. If something were to escalate, I recommend carrying the Pet Safe spray. And if it were to turn into a proper fight, you can utilize this to break up the fight. But again, this is for, since your dog has a history of getting along with the vast majority of all different types of temperaments of dogs that he's ever met, that would be a good protocol. And then the other side of things is, okay, we can't greet this dog. So this is a dog that's either on leash, or they may be off leash, but they're not necessarily approaching your dog. They might be piddling around. Maybe they're barking at him from a distance. Or to Eva's question, maybe we're just on a leashed walk and we're passing by other leashed dogs and we're getting barking or lunging. So you have brought up that you already have a tool in your tool belt, which is the Leave It training. So your dog has already learned that behavior, that when we say this, we want you to disengage from whatever trigger might be going on and focus on us instead. And that's awesome. So if you're utilizing that when we see another dog out on a walk and he is ignoring you, blowing you off, all that stuff, we might need to just go back a few steps and give him a little bit of a refresher on that. So you can go back to practicing it in easier contexts, remembering that we also have to practice it with something that's really a reward that he really cares about. So that might be, you know, just kind of going back a few steps, going back to basics, reassessing what's his favorite food right now. It might be something he hasn't had in a while. Dogs are really love novelty. So it may be that if you've been using bacon for all your Leave-Its for the past several months, it's gotten a little bit old. So we might go to the store, try a few different new things and try those out with him and see what's he into at the moment. Yeah, what was your question?
What does going back a few steps look like?
Okay, so going back a few steps basically just means practicing this behavior in not in the moment, so in easier environments. So if we're having a dog that's lunging and barking at other dogs on a walk, that's the hardest context for them. So what we might do is practice it without a dog there at all. We might practice, or going back a few more steps also means maybe we practice it in our home without any distractions. So yeah, just simplifying it and making it easier for the dog to succeed. Oh yeah, so then the other thing, so if we practice again with your dog, you know, say in your backyard, there's no dogs around, he's doing, we up the up the ante on what we're paying him with. So he's like, yeah, I love this. I'm going to do this every time for you in my backyard. Now we go to the park. Now there's, say we see 5 dogs at the park right away. So now we can utilize distance to make it easier for him. So, because if we're getting up, you know, say 5 feet away from the dog, then he's like, well, the dog's right there, I'm going for it, right? So now we can practice with him at 50 feet as just throwing it out there. You can gauge where it is that he starts to care about that other dog. So you can first practice that. Say he's like 50 feet and he's like, I don't even see that dog over there. Then we can go to 40 feet and then 30 feet and then 20 feet. And you can start to notice, well, hey, at 20 feet, it was a little bit harder for him to stop looking at the dog and look back at me. And so then we can stay at 20 feet and practice there. Yeah. And then then you know, okay, well, I can't get closer than 20 feet because he's not there yet. He's not able to respond to me if he's any closer than 20 feet. And then that gives you another tool to navigate the dogs in the park is, okay, I know if I stay at 20 feet, he's not going to lunge. He's going to be able to listen to me and I can pass dogs with him at 20 feet without greeting. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then to your question too, it was all the same, but we would want to establish first an alternative behavior for your dog to do other than barking at the dogs that they see. Yeah, so Leave It is the one that Isabel uses, which is an awesome one. It has many other uses as well besides just not paying attention to dogs. You can also do something like sit and watch me or just watch me and not even require a sit. Sometimes it can be, for dogs that are really excited about other dogs, it can be hard to stay seated when they are seeing the thing that excites them a lot. So yeah, a watch me. The cool thing about Leave It too is that you can utilize like movement with the alternative behavior, which can be really helpful. So after you cue the Leave It, you can, you know, run the other way and it gets a little bit of that ampedness that the dog has out by moving their body. You can do things like sit and lie down, but again, for this specific context of not paying attention to other dogs when we're excited, or not necessarily excited because we want to see them, but we're getting like this kind of emotional rise out of the dog when they see others, it can be helpful to not have to be stationary like that. Does that answer your question? Awesome. So So I'm going to address all the questions are pretty different. So I'm going to address the mental stimulation game. So we're knowing that we're giving our dog, is it like a food puzzle? What is it?
Yeah, it's the box.
The boxes.
I have all the boxes in the backyard, so I put them in.
Uh-huh.
Bacon.
Okay.
Well, first he couldn't even figure out what to do with it.
Okay.
So then I got a cup and I showed him the bacon, I put the cup over it, and he looked at me, and so I took the cup off and he ate the bacon. So I got another piece of bacon, I put the cup over it, and he looked at me.
Yeah.
He didn't get there was anything under the cup. And he didn't. I don't know. I thought he was bright. I don't know.
He is bright in his own way, in his very own Wally way. So great. That brings up a couple of different things. One, sometimes with these activities, our dog really doesn't understand what we're doing here. And so doing something similar to what you did can be really helpful. You know, if we're using the boxes, we can open the top of the box, shake it so they hear something's in there. We can utilize stinkier foods, you know, like stinky cheese or something like that. I mean, bacon is pretty smelly, so that may not be the route that you go, but that is something that we can do. Show them that we're putting it in there. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, as opposed to like having it under or with it just, it's in an open.
Yeah, an open box. Yep.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. And then, so he doesn't have to open it up. So we're making it just a little bit easier for him. So if you have, and so what can happen with that is if we do repeat that several times, you know, maybe once a day you give him an open box with some food in there. You encourage him to go over, he puts his head in the box, he gets food. So now he's starting to think, if there's boxes lying around, there might be something fun in there. And then we can start adding layers and making it harder. And it might not be that, it might be that you don't close it up right away after that, but then you get a newspaper and you crinkle up the newspaper and you just lay it on top of the treats in the box. Encourage him over, and he has to, you know, he has one obstacle in the box to sniff around and build it up. But what you want to look for is like that he's gaining interest, and that he's gaining like excitement to do it. Some dogs don't, not all dogs like the same mental stimulation activity. Some dogs really love to rip things up and other dogs don't. So it's possible that, you know, he's not super into ripping things up. And so there's other things we can try. So like the snuffling activities. So you can, it's kind of a similar concept, but like we're taking away the part where he has to like open up or dissect the box or the object. So you can use a towel, you can use newspaper, scrunch it up, sprinkle treats in it and just scrunch it up. And so it simulates sniffing through grass, which I, for one, know that he likes to do. Yeah. So that might be like a nice alternative brain game, something for him. The toy thing that we brought up is another option of potentially putting one of his favorite toys in there. But again, like Eva was mentioning, we would want it to be, he doesn't have 24/7 access to this toy. Honestly, similar like with the food, if you're trying to use food for these activities and he's not really interested, have it use a more special food. So something that he's not, at least to get him hooked on this game, something that he's not just getting every time you go on walks together or otherwise.
Will you describe what you use for Cheddar?
Oh yeah, so I gave Cheddar his dinner in one of these activity boxes, so just his kibble, but I also put a marrow bone in there.
Okay.
So he may, you know, I mean, he would open the box for anything, but say he was more like a Wally who wouldn't have investigated it for kibble, but if there's a marrow bone in there, he's a lot more likely to investigate that. And then when he gets the marrow bone, he's like, I love this thing, I got a marrow bone, like maybe next time there's gonna be a marrow bone in there again. So yeah, that can be helpful as well. But yeah, with the toys, we would want it to be, he's not getting access to the toy all the time, but it's a special thing. It's put in the box or it's put on the towel with the other snuffle food. And then when he does find the toy, if it's an interactive toy, like if he brings it to you, then we would want to give him the reinforcement of engaging with him with that toy. Another thing that's a little bit like not super strict in with like these brain puzzle activities, but is a little bit, and is something that you can do with him. It requires a little bit more engagement on your part, but less than like taking him for a walk, because he does like to do the sniffing in the grass stuff. utilizing a treat that he likes and tossing treats back and forth for him. Because he also likes to chase things, right? Like he gets into that chase mind. Yep. So, and you can have his favorite toy there too. And so, when he comes up to you and stares at you, like, he will toss a treat, several feet away. He's going to run after the treat. Then he's going to come back. Do you have another one? Yes, I do. Toss it that way, and gets him exercising back and forth and satisfying that need that he has to just like chase and get something. Yeah. And then, you could do a couple foods, and then you could toss his favorite ball, and then do some more food, and then another toy. It's a way for you to get him exercise without you having to take him on a walk.
The side benefit of
Yeah.
Sorry,
yeah, it's okay.
Is that what he's also learning is that something exciting, but if I come back to mom, exciting things are gonna happen again. So as far as going back to the dog,
yep.
This is still reinforcing because checking in with mom makes good things happen. Checking in with mom makes good things happen.
Yeah.
And so you're kind of inadvertently reinforcing
Yep.
the stuff that you're working with.
Yep. Yep. It's
That's good. That'll be fun. I did have a scary thing at Fred Locker. The first day I got that. And that was a dog. I don't think it was the same guy, but similar attitude with this off-leash dog came running up.
Mm-hmm.
So I dropped the leash.
Mm-hmm.
The dog wasn't super friendly.
Mm-hmm.
And was coming after a while, and Wally took off.
Mm.
And it really freaked me out because I thought, oh my God. But, Wally stopped. He was quite a ways away from me, almost to the pavilion thing, and he just stopped. And this other guy didn't have voice control over his dog, and that dog kept chasing after. Wally got a lot of exercise. But he didn't leave that general area.
Mm-hmm.
And then some guy, I think, stepped on the leash. Then that other guy got his dog.
On
Where
what?
was Linda? Where was the dog?
Yeah.
Nobody was around,
Yeah.
So that's what worries me is will he take off?
He is way too obsessed with it.
Yeah. I wouldn't. I mean, and if you're worried about it, then that comes back into recall. So then we can get a temperament check on where are we at with the recall? Like, do we need to brush up on our recall or make sure that he's still able to recall in this context? And if he's not, like I said before, like we want to just make the environment less distractions, a little easier for him to be successful and build back up to that hardest recall, which is he's with another dog that he just met. Probably, my guess would be that would be his hardest recall. Or it's getting chased.
And in a situation like that too, with the other dog, if you see it coming, you can tell it's not happy body language.
Yeah.
Since you do have food on you when you're walking, sometimes if you're just tossing food for the other dog, they go, "Whoa, what's this?" And it gets their nose in the ground, so you can go get your hand. It gives the aggressive dog kind of distraction. No, sometimes they don't care at all.
Yeah.
But if it looks like it's going to be dangerous.
Yeah. Do you have one of these?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
The guy kept saying, "Oh, he's friendly."
Well, they'll always say that. Yeah. Yeah.
It passed really fast. It seemed like it was friendly, but it was probably quite a time all of this stuff. And it's scary.
Yeah. So that's actually a good. Yeah.
He's defensive.
Well, that brings up a good point that I'd love to touch on really quick. In these high stress for us, we get stressed out. We're like, oh my God, I don't know this dog. I don't know what's going to happen. It is worrisome to us as humans. We also don't want anything bad to happen to our dog. There's a lot of emotions. And it's important to just take a minute, especially maybe before we go on our walk with our dog, to remember that these are our emotions and our experiences. They're not necessarily our dog's. And so it really requires a little bit of self-awareness and work to regulate our own inner state, what we're going through. Because it's probably not what Wally is going through. He may be going through something, but it's not what we're feeling, right? So Yeah, just a very, and honestly, the best way to do it, even in the moment when it's happening or as we start out on our walk, is just to get some deep breaths going. It's the same thing that helps us regulate ourselves as helps our dogs regulate. So that's why they sniff. And if we can encourage them sniffing, it's really good for their mental state and their emotional state. Same with us. So yeah, I think it's helpful for all of us to just take some deep breaths when we get going. And then maybe we get to the park, we see there's 5 dogs. Oh no, that one over there is off leash. Let's take a couple more deep breaths. We'll be able to think better, get ourselves through that situation better, remember what our dog knows, remember how to navigate it, because you've got a lot of the tools. So if we're able to do that, it'll help navigate the situation a little less stressful.
Do dogs pick up like one?
Yeah, definitely.
Across the field.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know the specific distances of where they would pick it up, but
he's gonna pick up.
yeah, I mean, they're very in tune to what our emotional state is as well. Just like we can kind of tell when they're super anxious. Yes, no, they don't. It affects them all differently. Sometimes they sense their owner is nervous and they want to get away because they don't know it stresses them out. They definitely don't all go into like a comfort mode. Some do. But yeah, they do definitely pick up on stuff that we may be feeling internally. But I think it's most helpful, what I'm talking about is most helpful in the way in which it helps you react better to what's going on around you.
Really good advice.
Okay, so then we've got, what is a good way to help a household of 4 dogs become used to new people being in the home? 2 are very open and friendly, too much so sometimes. 1 is neutral and 1 is fearful. No easy task for sure. It's hard enough to support 1 dog with what they're going through, much less 4 when they're all going through something differently. So what I would recommend is tailor your plans to each dog. And so if we've got the 2 pro-social dogs, they may have the same plan, but it's gonna look like set up beforehand, and probably that they will each be in a different setup during the visit. So what I would recommend is, and maybe you already have this information, so you have the information on how each of them react when a new person comes. So kind of like Eva's talked about in the past in terms of, so let's start with the pro-socials. So they're pro-social enough that they can they come outside and greet the person? It's overwhelming. So overwhelming to the person visiting. Okay. Yeah. How did you set it up?
So this one, which is
yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. 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 Okay. So yeah, I guess kind of like what we've talked about before, we can go full management or we can go management and training. If it were me, I would want to go management and training because you do have pro-social dogs. So it'd be great to give them the chance to interact with someone that they love, or whatever. But so that's where the training would come in. So for those 2, we would teach them a different behavior than jumping and licking faces. And that can be any of the ones that you want. So that can be, you can do things like, you could do a leave it, but then have a full activity waiting. Or you could go with the sit to greet. So there's a couple different, a couple different options for like greeting that's not jumping up. So sit to greet is one. That would probably be a really great one for them. You can also do like a go say hi where they nose target the visitor's hand as the greeting, so they don't have to sit, because sometimes if they're really, really excited, it can be hard to sit in that context. So they can go nose target the hand, and they can do it multiple times. So they're getting a way to interact with the new person that we're okay with. We're okay with you going and booping their hand instead of jumping up and licking their face. You can do things like a downstay, but again, that's really hard. But what you could do is combine. So let's say you get a really solid sit to greet or a really solid go say hi hand target, and they get the chance to do that, 5 to 10 times with the new visitor. Now we're going to go put you in a downstay for the rest of the visit. And you can utilize a baby gate to help them with that. But at least that's giving them, the ones that want the chance to greet that new person, they're still getting that chance, but they're getting it in a legal way. Now for the neutral, I would recommend utilizing management in the way in which you direct your visitors, if they can be trusted, to completely ignore that dog. That way, the dog is neutral, they're able to still get some sniffs in, investigate, but they know that they're not going to get bombarded by the new person. If it's somebody that you aren't 100% sure is going to be able to follow your direction, then I would use for the neutral dog the same protocol for the fearful dog. And that protocol would be the management protocol of just putting them in whatever safe space that they need. So again, we've talked about this before. Some dogs will not feel safe if they can see the visitor in the home at all, in which case we'll put them in their own room. We can put some sound machine on, give them something, activity that they love to do, so that we're still getting a little bit of that association, because they will still know that visitor is there. Even if they can't see or hear them, they're still going to know. So giving them something that they love, they're still going to get an association. Every time that scary visitor comes, I don't have to see him, I don't have to hear him, but I do get to go and chew my bone or whatever it may be. So they're still getting a little bit of that positive association, while keeping them under, keeping them way further behind ever getting to the point of like being really fearful. And then so if they can tolerate, every dog is different. So if they can tolerate seeing the person, tolerate meaning they're watching, but they're not barking and lunging or growling. So they might be, that you can definitely tell that they notice the person, but they're not all the way into, I need to get out of here. So they're either not fleeing, they're not fighting. Then we can leave them behind a baby gate with the good activity that they love, while they still have a visual and audio of the visitor. Does that answer your question? Follow-up question? Do we have a yard?
Yeah, we can do it outside.
Okay,
We can do it on leash. Could the dog be on leash?
Yeah. So we generally would not recommend, so you're talking about tethering on leash the dog outside. So we generally wouldn't recommend doing that for a dog that is not, that's not something that the dog is already with. Many dogs aren't comfortable with it anyways, just because it can be, they don't have a lot of range of motion. They can hit the end of the leash. It can be uncomfortable, if not scary. So in that situation, if you don't have a fenced yard, we might try setting up a temporary fence depending on the size of the dog, with some of these like baby gate X pens outside. We definitely want to make sure that our dog can't just push through or jump over those. If that's just not an option, we could think about if our dog is comfortable in the car, we could have them sit in the car while our visitor's over. Of course, if the weather, allows for that. And usually most houses have a bathroom, even if they have an open floor plan. So we might spend a little bit of time getting our dog comfortable with hanging out in the bathroom before the visitor comes over, just like to get them used to it. We can make it a fun game. Here, we're going to go do your bone or do your brain puzzle in the bathroom for 10 minutes. Does that answer your question?
Mm-hmm. My dog's comfortable with the dog because it's really comfortable with being on a leash and walks on a leash all the time. Could I use a leash in that case?
For keeping your dog outside while
for doing like meeting the stranger in my open floor plan house, when I can't find a place to put a baby gate. If I was to go outside
and hold the
stranger and hold the dog on leash, if she loves being on, she doesn't mind being on leash, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so a few things there that one, we would want to make sure that, so now we're shifting out of the management zone, so just preparing them to get set up, and we're shifting into a little bit more of like training. So if we want to go more into training, that's awesome. And actually to your question, again, one, we want to make sure that the visitor is willing to participate in our training. So it may be that we say, hey, when you first come over, my dog's pretty nervous of people. Would you be willing to spend like 10 minutes following my direction on doing a little bit of training with my dog? It'll just be 10 minutes and then we can put her away and go forth. So we want our visitor is willing. And then we also want to make sure our dog is willing and capable of doing that as well. So like we were saying, some of our dogs, it's too much even just to see the visual of the stranger in the front yard or in the house. So in that context, no, we wouldn't recommend you to bring your dog out on leash to interact with the visitor. But if they're just, a little bit more on the light side of that fear, so they're nervous, but they can see the stranger out in the front yard from 20 feet away without barking or hackles or growling or lunging, then that's a space where we can work. And it would be really beneficial to the dog if the visitor is willing to work with you in that way. And for you, I would recommend, like, if you did have a visitor that was willing and you were using your neutral or fearful dog, go ahead and get the 2 pro-socials set up elsewhere, somewhere where they're going to be comfy, so that you're able to get an accurate read on where the dog is that you're actually working with in terms of how they're feeling emotionally about it. So I think, are we out of time? Okay. Yeah, did you have a question?
Yeah, something that came up when we were thinking about fearful.
Yep. Yep.
And when we were traveling, if he saw this dog, he was scared of the dog initially. What can I do? I mean, how do you calm them down when they've encountered something that's scary? The
Great question.
Just about did Wally in.
Yeah.
I mean, the
fireworks are
tragic.
Yeah.
So I doped him up, but and then he was a mess for 2 days.
Yeah.
Do that again.
Yeah. Well,
I don't think it's fun.
Yeah.
But how can I calm him?
Yeah, it's a great question. Just a little disclaimer that fireworks in particular can be a little bit of a different ball game than seeing.
Thunder, lightning.
Yep. Just it's a little bit more prolonged. We don't have as much control over it. Generally, we do recommend that dogs that are fearful of thunder or fireworks do have a consult with your vet about the potential use of medications. It could be that trazodone isn't the right one for Wally if you feel like it makes him feel, it may not be working for him. Yes.
There is a drug that is FDA approved specifically for something called Cilio. It does not. Yes.
Yeah. So bring it up to your vet. You can just say, hey, I've used trazodone. The last couple times we had Thunder. I don't really feel like it's working for my dog. Have you heard of this one? I've heard about this. Could we maybe try this and see what they say?
How do you spell?
Celio, right? Oh.
Sileo. Or Cilio, I don't know. It's specifically for something. And it doesn't go up. You give it to them about an hour before that.
Could you spell it again?
Sileo.
Okay. Makes sense.
So yeah, so that, like I was saying, that can have a little bit of a different approach with the Firehorse and Thunder than a strange object popped up and my dog's nervous of that. Just because sometimes with the prolonged scary sounds, the dog might be too scared to engage with anything, and it's going on and on, so they can't get away from it. So those are that we would utilize for, let's say he saw this dog or a weird statue and he's like, whoa, and he's like scared. In that context, what we would want to do is, number one, we don't want to push him. So even though we can tell it's just a harmless stuffed dog and we're like, well, it's fine. Just get over it. Just go up to it. In his mind, that's not, he perceives it as a threat. So we don't want to push him. We want him to be able to choose with his feet where he goes. Does he want to move further, or does he want to move closer, or does he want to stay where he is and stare at it and take it in that way? We want to let him observe it at whatever distance he feels comfortable. And then we're just going to combat the scary feelings with something positive. So yes, we can tell him it's okay. We can talk sweet to him. And then we're going to give him something really special food-wise. That's generally the easiest, most impactful way to combat the fear. And it may be, so let's say he sees it and he freezes and he's like big whale eyes and you can tell he's terrified. And you're saying it's okay and you're offering him food and he's not eating the food. Then we can just let's walk him in the other direction. Let's say it's okay again and offer him at a further distance and see if he'll take the food then. It's okay if it doesn't happen right when he sees that scary thing. We still want to offer him reassurance of something positive after he's seen. And it may be that he won't be able to eat it until he gets further away from that scary thing. And the cool thing is that the more times you do this, it becomes predictive for him. I saw some weird statue that popped out of nowhere, but the last 15 times that happened, Mom walked me away from it and gave me gummies. So but if we do it the first 2 times and then the next 3 times we don't do it, then it's harder for him to make that association and to really start to anticipate, because dogs learn through associations. So when that weird, scary thing pops up, this happens. And the more we can make it so every single time he gets that same, happy times after the scary thing, the stronger that association will be for him. And that's when the emotion starts to change for him. That, oh wait, maybe it's actually not scary. Maybe I actually kind of like that. Does that make sense?
Yes. And don't ever take your dog to the shop with the big jackalope.
there was a suspiciously shaped rock on our hike the other day. That
Indeed.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, it's a strange thing. It's not uncommon though. It's not. It's not unusual. It's
My sister's dog, she got a tea set, like a silver tea set from my mom. That was my grandmother's. My sister's dog was like, absolutely. I was like, I will not go back inside the home. I don't want anything to do with it. Just growling at it. That thing is dangerous. And it's a tea set, but we think it's a tea set.
yeah. They don't know.
He didn't know. It's shiny. And
Yeah.
but it's weird.
Mhm.
It's new. Like,
Mhm.
oh, I've never seen this before.
Mhm.
And it was terrifying.
Yeah.
And so it's, our natural reaction is like, oh, it's a tea set, or it's a stuffed dog. But we got to remember that, like, in their brains, they're like, I don't understand what this is. And so they're doing what it takes to make sure that that they stay safe.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it can be helpful to us too to think about the kind of understanding and compassion that we would want if we were presented with something that terrified us, like a dog rushing up to us when we've got our dog on leash. So even though, yeah, like you said, it seems to us like, oh, this is no big deal. Why are you so like freaking out about this? Like, what would you want to be met with if you were also feeling terrified? Kindness, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, Cheddar saw a watermelon this was when he was younger. No, this was before, yeah. It was like in a construction zone, so behind like a construction fence, a whole watermelon. And for some reason, he was just so terrified of that watermelon. So yeah, they are having their own experiences. Yeah. All right. Then we will go ahead and wrap up. And Isabel we'll send you the foster questionnaire so you can fill it out and let us know what might work or not work for you. And thank you for coming.
Oh, thank you. This was really good.